Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of CR Exposed. On today's episode we are looking at the Void Dragon Wyrmling from Tales of the Valiant Monster Vault 1. And I say 1 because there is a Monster Vault 2 in the works. On today, with that, I think I just said Void Dragon Wyrmling. I'm a little confused. It's been a little while since I've done one of these. Lots been going on. So if you'll, excuse me for being a little all over the place here, let's just jump right into this monster and take a look at what we see with the Void Dragon Wyrmling. Now, I'm picking this because initially someone had suggested like a yellow Void Dragon and a brown purple Void Dragon, but Monster Vault for Tales of the Valiant doesn't have that. Probably a 5th edition version for this, so I just went in and found the Void Dragons, and it turns out they have, Wyrmling to adult. And we're going to go with this. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Void Dragon Wyrmling here, a CR2 monster. So since we know it's a CR2, we'll go ahead and drop that in. And we are looking for the following items here. We want him to have a proficiency bonus of 2, 13 to 15 AC, 60 hit points on average, 4 to 5 attack bonus, 19 to 25 damage per round, and 13 to 15 save DC. Now, these are the numbers we're looking for. The hit points are going to adjust one way or the other based off of how Tales of the Valiant does their monster balancing versus 5th edition, which I like Tales of the Valiant version a lot better. So, right off the bat, we're going to see that we have a medium dragon here. The medium doesn't really matter for anything except for printing. If you were to use this tool and actually print to the home brewery, that's when you would want to worry about that. But for instance, or for the sake of things, let's go ahead and throw in all of our modifiers here. So we have a 3 strength, a 2 dex, 5 con, 1 intelligence, 1 wisdom, and 5 charisma. Now, these numbers may need to be updated based on whether or not the modifiers are correct. Since we don't see a parentheses of whether or not we're adding in the proficiency bonus, we'll have to see that towards the end when we look at attacks and other things that are using the proficiency bonus plus the modifiers. So for the time being, we are looking at 17 AC. Since our armor class is a 12, we have to add in the additional to make up for that natural AC of 17, since our dexterity is only a +2, which means we add in 5, which will bring us up to a 17. Now, as I mentioned before, our AC should be a 13 to 15 on average. So since this is going to be 2 points higher than the maximum AC, we're going to see a modification in the negative of hit points. So we're going to lose like 10% in total because we're 2 points over the maximum expected range. Moving on, we do have 40 hit points, so we are going to be looking to hit this towards the end to see how accurate we are. We then look at the speed. Speed is actually very important for Tales of the Valiant. Slower monsters actually get a hit point bonus, but because we have at least one speed that is 30 feet, we actually have a fly speed of 60 plus hovering. We don't have to worry about modifying that. We have our perception and stealth here. We do have a resistance to cold, so we'll go ahead and jump down into the resistances areas. And we will go ahead and throw in resistance to cold. And then we have immune to necrotic. And necrotic is right there. We also have immune to charmed, frightened, and prone. So we'll go ahead and throw in immune to charmed, frightened, and prone. Now we should see some modifications here already. In the section here, a lot of these tools will auto update from which is really great to see. So as we saw before, as I was mentioning, for every 1 the AC is above, we lose 5%. So since we are 2 above, we are losing a total of 10% there. The creature is also resistant or immune to 3 or more conditions, which it is. We are losing an additional 5%. And then for every 2 types of damage to which the creature is immune or resistant, and in this case it means both, we are also losing an additional 8% as well. So far, we are losing a total of minus 22% adjustments. Well, no, actually, that should be what? 23, because it's 10, 15, plus an additional 8, 23. But we also have some adjustments in the positive at the moment. And the only reason they're in the positive is because we haven't worked out the actual damage yet for our Void Dragon Wyrmling. So moving on, we will go ahead and ignore the rest of these. We don't care about senses or languages. We've already taken care of the stats. We can move into the traits here. So we have the embodiment of the void. The creatures resistant to necrotic damage aren't resistant, and so on and so forth. You can read that if you'd like. It doesn't affect our monster. We also have Pounce, so if the dragon moves at least 15 feet towards a creature and hits with its claw on the same turn, that target must succeed on a strength save or be knocked prone. If the target is prone, the dragon makes one claw attack against it as a bonus action. Now, prone does come into play. I don't believe it's something down into here. We actually just have to kind of keep track of it in the attack section. So we'll come back to that in a little bit. Then we have finally Void Dweller. The Void Dragon doesn't require air, food, drink, sleep, or ambient pressure and is immune to the effects of the Void Terrain. So we can just kind of skip that. From there, we will go ahead and look at our actions. Now, our dragon here has a multi-attack, 1 bite and 1 claw, which is very typical. And we are looking for +5 to hit for our bite, which we're going to take a look at first. Since we have the strength here set up, which is our higher of the 2 general melee attack bonuses, and with the proficiency bonus intact, we're seeing a +5 here, which means we don't have to worry about adjusting. More than likely, our constitution is probably a 3 with the bonus proficiency added in, as well as charisma. More than likely, these shouldn't be 5s and actually should be 3 with the proficiency save, but since so far we're not using either of those 2 for any of the stats, it doesn't exactly matter. From there, we were going to go ahead and throw in all of our damage here. Just for the sake of using the tool as it is presented, I will go ahead and show you how to make these changes here. We'll go ahead and throw in the strength and the D10. Now we're going to see that on average our bite is going to do 1d10 plus 3. The reason why we have a half damage is because of averages. For every 1d whatever, we have to add in an extra half. So if you take in and add all the numbers and average them out, so for instance the d10, if you add in 1, 2, 3 to 10, you will end up with 5.5. That's the average damage per that die. Then we're also adding in the strength bonus, which is going to give us the +3 for 8.5. Now every time we do multiples of odd numbers, we have to add in that 1 extra point of damage. In this case, we will see that with the claw here. The claw is also going to be a 1d6 plus its strength bonus for 6.5, and since we're multi-attacking, that's actually going to work out to, what's that, 15 points of damage in total? 8.5 and 6.5. In any event, we're going to go ahead and move this attack here, and we're going to move that attack to here. Because our attacks don't actually have any modifiers, we're not going to worry about adding in any attack conditions, but we do have the pounce condition here. So if the dragon moves at least 15 feet forward, which it's expected to on the first round of combat, and makes the pounce, more than likely we won't see this again and again and again, probably only the one time. We will get this one attack, and it doesn't necessarily matter because we're not going to worry about doing it every round of attack here. But just for the sake of showing you what it's going to look like, we would do another pounce here of the claw, so 6.5, and because it has one single attack condition, we're not getting any bonus out of it. It's like a single attack is adding maybe 3%, and because we're so low on the damage, it's not really going to do anything. We would need a damage really high, somewhere around maybe 20 or 30 points of damage to see something come from these single or multi-condition attack riders. So from there, we will go ahead and take a look at our breath weapon. The Void Dragon uses one of the following: Gravity Breath or Withering Breath. More than likely, we will use whichever of the two is stronger. So for here, we have the Gravity Breath. The dragon exhales localized gravity in a 15-foot cube. The creature ends a fall in the cube. It takes 5 points of bludgeoning damage, 5.5 technically. For every 10 feet, it fell to a maximum of 20 d10 bludgeoning damage. So we have standard bludgeoning damage rules here, although, isn't it like a d6? Normally, I think they may have updated the damage in Tales of the Valiant. I haven't looked at that part in the rules since they're so close to the other system this came from. A creature that enters the cube for the first time on a turn, starts its turn there, must make a dex save. On a fail, the creature is restrained. On a success, the creature's speed is halved. So, in essence, we're not really doing any kind of damage with the Gravity Breath besides just restraining. And since this is more of a defensive breath, I'm not going to worry about any kind of fall damage because it's unlikely that anything's going to fall. So let's take a look at the Withering Breath instead, because this is where the main beef of this attack is coming from for the breath weapon. The dragon exhales a life-rending energy in a 15-foot cone. Each creature makes a dex save, taking 21 or 66 necrotic damage. So just again, for the sake of having these in here, we have 21 points of damage. We have a multi-attack effect here. We're going to go ahead and throw that in for 21 feet. And because this is a 15-foot cube, this is short range. So in my little note here, if the range of the AoE is a 10-foot or less radius, 30-foot or less long, 5-foot wide line, or a 15-foot or smaller cone, check this box to make sure it applies, which means instead of it being 2 times the amount of damage, we're actually doing 1.5 times the damage. So our Withering Breath here is technically only expected to do about 31 points of damage on average because of such a short range. We're only likely going to see maybe 2 targets in a 15-foot cone. And then lastly, our Void Dragon here has a reaction, and it's called Void Twist. The dragon adds 2 to its AC against 1 attack that would hit it as it twists reality to open a small rift and space to protect it. Now, I don't believe we have anything here that would add into the AC, but in theory, we could say, all right, because we're only getting 1 attack here, we could likely add 1 more AC to our dragon here for bonus AC. And just for the sake of argument here, because we can do this once every round of combat, and likely we will be using this Void Twist, I'm going to go ahead and turn this from a 5 to a 6 and see how the modifications come from there. So now that we've taken a look at our Void Dragon Wyrmling here, let's go ahead and work out our attacks. Now, as I said before, the multi-attack is going to be the Bite and the Claw, which is very standard, giving us 15 points of damage, and then we also have the Void Breath. So we're going to go ahead and say first round, more than likely the first round is going to be charging up to get that pounce damage in place. And then from there, we will get, in theory, the pounce damage, and then we can do the attack. So first round, we will go ahead and say, let's just double check this here. If the dragon moves at least 15 feet straight towards a creature and then hits with a claw attack on the same turn, that target makes a strength save and knocked prone. If the target is prone, the dragon can make 1 claw attack against it as a bonus action. So we're going to get an extra attack in here. So round 1 is likely going to be our multi-attack plus an additional 1 more attack from the claw. And just for the sake of having it in there, we will go ahead and throw that there. Round 2 is going to be the breath weapon, and then round 3 is just going to be the multi-attack because we are very unlikely to move again. Now this is going to average everything out, and we see that we are now in the actual DPR range of 22, which is expected. We wanted to be between 19 and 25, which we got. So now let's take a look to see if we got that 40 hit points like we are expecting to have. And when we come up here, we're adjusted to 43. That's pretty spot on. More than likely, they're probably not going to add in the damage or the bonus reaction here since it's modifying the AC, and Tales of the Valiant Monster Creation doesn't really worry too much about AC modifications unless it's permanent, and the Void reaction there isn't necessarily permanent. So from that, let's go ahead and modify this back to a 5 and see, oh, we actually go up to a 46. So maybe they do actually encounter that. Well, let's see. Let's add in the AC bonus, and every round we get 1 attack. That brings us up to a 7. And there we go. Now we have the adjusted 40 hit points. So that was kind of on me. I didn't think that they would actually add in the total 2 AC for 1 attack because it's just 1 attack. We might have multiple attacks here, and I don't think that's necessarily the right way to add in the Void Twist here. Very strange. If anything, I would say that more than likely the actual hit points should be probably 43 or 46, but to be honest, 3 to 6 hit points is not really going to make a difference. So, I would say this is pretty much an A. I'd give this dragon an A, virtually like A+ here because it's practically 100% accurate. I have a little bit of like a meh with that Void Twist thing. I'm not really sure how it should be applied technically, but there we have it. I'd give this dragon an A, and I would definitely use it in your games of Tales of the Valiant. So with that, if you like what we've done here and you'd like to get this tool to use for yourself, you can go ahead and check the link in the description below for my Ko-fi page where you can get this tool completely for free or donate if you feel so inclined to. Donations are greatly appreciated. I've just started backing Cheipeku. They have a new thing out and I'm going to be using a lot of their scenes, tokens, and maps in my games, my actual play games that you can see here on the channel, hopefully. Some point soon I will be getting those out. They take so much time. If you'd also like to help the channel out, you can become a channel member for as little as $1 a month, or become a coffee backer, a coffee donator. You can hit me up for a coffee every month for as little as much as $1 there as well, where I'm posting all about everything I'm doing, which is for the channel, some other stuff that I'm working on the side, like my Goblin Slayer project, and I'm also now working on some actual video game related stuff, coding in Godot to make a 2D video game, and a few other things. On top of that, you can also buy some stuff. I have custom classes for 5th edition and Tales of the Valiant, as well as custom subclasses and monsters. And then, like, subscribe, thumbs up. Yeah, that's the same thing. Comment, share, do all that stuff. It greatly helps out the channel. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.